Welcome to The Common Legend, where legends are more common than you may think. This week, my guest is Josh. I wanted to ask you first. Longawa?
That's correct. Yes.
Cool. Josh Longawa. How you doing today, Josh?
I'm doing great. It's
Doing
a good
great?
day. Yeah.
Good to have you here, man. How was your day?
It was good. It's a typical day at work, family, well, I guess not so typical because I came here. So.
Oh, yes. I'm the asterisk on your typical day.
Yes.
So what does a typical day look like in the life of Josh?
Oh, well, nowadays it's pretty predictable. So it's getting up in the morning. I actually started meditating again before I start my day. I get ready after meditating. I eat and then I go to work. In that time, my wife has already probably gone to work before I've completely gotten ready. So,
and what time in the morning is that? Is she gone by?
She's typically gone by about, I'd say, 7:30.
So you've already meditated, eaten, done your whole routine.
By around 8:15, I'm ready to rumble.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. A lot of people don't have a good morning routine like that.
Yeah, I've found for myself in my past, having structure is key to success in almost all areas of my life. And the structure comes and goes, as does a lot of things in life. But I usually recognize when it's gone, and then it takes me a little while to jump back on it. So
how long ago did you start getting in this morning routine, like the meditation structure? When did that come about?
Well, I did so as you know, I'm a recovering drug addict, so I had
same.
Cool. So I started, my journey in recovery has been a long one. It started in the late 90s, and really my most successful years have been the last 5.5 years of being sober. And so I've had a structure when I was staying sober and through other areas of my life as well. But really, these last 5 years is when I've really honed in on what I've learned over the last 30 years. Yeah.
It's a process.
It really is, and it's strange because we never have to give up our experience, but sometimes we have these roadblocks that block us from progressing. Mm-hmm. But if you're able to set aside the quote unquote trauma, you're not unlearning things that you learned in the past, so you can always go back to them and pull them back into your life.
In both a negative and a positive way.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. In a great way or a horrible way.
Yes. Yeah, and I've succeeded on both of those things at different times in my life.
Well, I mean, like you said, the last 5.5 years, that's kind of been how long I've known you.
Right.
And since I've met you, you've been doing phenomenally.
Yeah, it's been insane.
I
feel I'm a pretty emotional dude, but I get a little choked up thinking about some of the gifts that have been given back to me. So my kids are the biggest thing. I had a horrible relationship with my kids at the end of my youth, and it was really the main pain point for me to retain sober, because I saw them not wanting to be around me anymore, and really they were my reason to stay alive at that time. So I don't know. It's usually I cry by this time, and I'm really close. But
so your kids were a big motivating factor for your sober journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I can relate to that 100%. I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for the motivation of my child and wanting to be there for them.
Right.
So, and you say when your use got bad. So what's your date? How long you been clean?
So 8/2/2019 will be my 6 years.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah. Or sorry, this year 8/2
Yeah.
2025 will be my
6 years?
Yeah.
So over
Yeah.
5 years?
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the longest I've had continuous sobriety for, and I think I had about 4 years. I had a little over 4 years once, a little over 3 years another time. This has been the whole thing has been different from the day I stopped drinking and using. But I was given the gift of desperation this time, where I knew I had to get sober. I knew everything in my life was going to fail if I didn't get sober. And and there was really nothing I could do about it either. I'd never experienced not being able to quit on my own and then maybe straightening out my act for a while, or maybe going to treatment and it'd be fine. I literally could not quit using drugs. And I would go to the hospital, I get released, and I would say to myself, I'm never doing this again. I'm not doing this again. I can't do this again. And typically within 24 to 48 hours, I'd be high again. Yeah. And it was the last 6 months was really bad. But the last 30 days, before I got sober, I had already enrolled into a treatment facility. And I was on a waiting list at the time. Every treatment facility was packed.
A lot of people don't know that. Like when you go into treatment, like you have to get on a waiting list first.
Yeah, in a lot of cases. And I had been to like 4 or 5 other treatments, and that was never the case. So I never thought that I would have to wait. And in that 30 days, I think I wound up in the hospital 4 times. And
in 30 days?
Yeah, it was not good. A couple situation with the police as well, which turned out to be, a struggle. It turned out to throw a huge roadblock.
Just makes things worse.
Yeah, just
more complicated.
More consequences, more government oversight.
Maybe a little more reinforcement.
Yeah, I'm grateful for, when I look back, I'm grateful for like those hardships, because I really don't know if I would have put as much effort in it as I did. But the weird thing is that when I went to treatment and I was clean for 30 days, and during that time period, it was the only thing I thought about. Like, I knew I had to stay sober. I made the decision to stay sober, and I made the decision to do what it took to stay sober. And I had been in 12-step programs for in and out, and had some good success with them. And I knew what I needed to do to stay sober, and I put my head down, and that was my focus, and that was my goal. That I chose to go through the hard things so I could have success. And I'm a true believer that in like all areas of life, that if you don't choose something hard to do, the hard things will choose you. And I know it sounds super cliche.
No, I agree.
But yeah,
I totally agree.
Even when it's not, like, I can give you an example of what I mean by that also. If I don't have something that I'm focused on, that it takes my effort, these little things, these just common everyday problems, I can dwell on them and they eat at me, and those little things become hard for me. Whereas if I'm focused on something else, those little things can drown off into, it's just white noise at that point.
Right.
They don't bother me that much because I have focus, and I have something hard I'm already working on, and I don't have to make it a pinpoint of my day. So I don't know. It's kind of a little philosophy that I try to carry through.
I really like that.
Yeah.
I've heard someone say, like, when they're trying to explain like addiction or chemical dependency to someone who's never struggled with it, they say, okay, well, do you use your phone a lot? Imagine putting your phone in the other room. And every time you think about grabbing your phone, that's what addiction is like.
Right.
And so trying to go through life like that every day
Yeah.
it's a struggle that a lot of people will never know.
Right.
But it sounds like you had some goal, your children or
Yeah.
something else, like driving you towards sobriety.
Yeah, that was a huge drive. 'Cause I'd kind of given up. You know, there's a lot of people that say you have to do it for yourself. And I think, yeah, ultimately you are doing it for yourself, but the motivation, but what I was doing for myself actually was I wanted to have my kids in my life. So I was doing it because I wanted to be in my kids' life. So,
Right.
you know, just finding that thread of hope anywhere is what you need to latch onto, or is what I did.
No, I completely
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
I don't like that whole philosophy of like, if you can't do it alone, you can't do it at all.
Yeah.
It's like, man, we all have motivating factors.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
And sometimes a child or a partner can help you through
Yeah.
that dark period.
Well, yeah, I'm in a bunch of different, I mean, a partner or a team, you know, you can accomplish, individual can accomplish great things, but a team can
Build the pyramids.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah. Or
totally.
maybe that was the aliens.
Okay. Now, welcome to a conspiracy hour on the Common Legend. No, that's amazing, man. And so I met you probably relatively early on in your
Yeah.
sobriety journey.
Yeah, I think I was probably either around a year or less than a year. I can't remember exactly the date.
Okay. When you moved in that Lakeville house.
Yeah, no, I've had that house for 18 or 19 years. I've been there
wow.
for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Which I just sold it. Like I just signed the.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, yesterday. Well, I haven't gotten paid yet, so it's not. Sold,
Okay,
but,
so it's
you
not
know,
official.
Yeah.
I still remember that driveway. Fuck that driveway.
Yeah.
That what is that? Like almost 60 degrees.
It's not that steep.
I mean,
It's steep
for my Volkswagen Jetta, like it had some issues.
Yeah, yeah.
But when we met, I know you through my sister.
Yeah.
And she expressed to me that you had been through something I had gone through because I was recovering just fresh out of rehab from my Adderall addiction.
Yeah.
And you were looking to help
Yeah.
people in similar places that you've been.
Right.
So where do you think that need, that desire, where do you think that fits into your recovery journey?
Well, number one, I think we all need, I think there's like, excuse me, I don't mean to be stuttering here, but it just fits into, I've been trying to find balance forever in my life. And this is going to be a little roundabout way of getting to the answer to your question. But I believe in balance, or trying to balance your life. And there's certain things that we tend to overlook in like my desire to be helpful to others. It's always been there. I just really never was able to see an opportunity that seemed to mesh well. And then, cause I'm sorry, I'm going to
Take your time
again.
That's okay.
So
I'll make you look good. Don't worry. I'll chop it up.
So, well, anyways, with the search for balance is I've always had a desire to help people, but never really was able to see where I could help them. And then in the just getting sober and having the experiences that I do, and then doing part of the 12-step program is, extending our hand to help others that have had similar situations as us. And, I had a house that I was living in by myself. The opportunity just presented itself to me, and it seemed like a no-brainer. Like, I always want to help, and there's no reason that I couldn't. So it just seemed natural to help out. But it's also like one of the main pillars, like community, should be a main pillar in somebody's
huge.
life,
Yeah.
right? So in community, it had always been underserved in my life. Like a lot of what I lived on as an alcoholic or a drug addict is just self-serving. So as you start to get more aware of who you are and what you desire, you're able to see these holes in your life, and you can't be balanced or even feel balanced if you recognize a hole in your life. So that was that I felt grateful for the opportunity. So and I a lot of times I will go out of my way to help in a situation, and maybe I wasn't suited for that situation, and it didn't really wind up helping. But as I've become more balanced, I'm able to find these situations where I know I'm more suitable to help somebody. Because just because you think you can help somebody doesn't necessarily make you qualified for helping somebody.
I know that one all too well. Yeah. Just because you can help doesn't mean you should.
Yeah. And it's life's been really weird these last, like I said, 5 years or so.
Well, especially because you started your recovery journey right at the beginning of the pandemic when shit just hit the fan.
Yeah.
And substance abuse went through the roof.
Skyrocketed.
Yeah.
It was, people locked up in their houses. Drinking, left to their own devices, right?
Yeah.
Like, for me, it was a blessing. And
really?
Pretty much anything you can make a positive out of a perceived negative. For that, it took the noise out of my head. Like, I should be out partying with my friends, or
you can't.
Yeah, I can't. There was no partying with my friends.
So it's almost like divine intervention.
Yeah. In a way, I guess you could definitely say that. But it also gave me the opportunity to focus on some of these other things, like my business or starting a business, or it enabled me to get closer to somebody who I eventually married.
Yeah.
There's all these little things that was so great about being
sober.
Sober
and stuck.
Yeah.
So which, oh my God, we touched on so many topics I want to
I'm
talk
sorry.
about. No, don't apologize. So, Josh, what do you do for a living?
I'm co-owner of a construction company.
Okay.
I primarily do exteriors, but
okay.
Yeah, it's been an awesome ride. So I've been in either insurance restoration on the adjusting side, on the insurance side of things, or on the construction side since early 2000s, like 2001 or something, around that time period.
Well, co-owner.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So was this a lifelong career path, or?
Well, I tried to not have it be, but yeah, it turned out to be, that was my career path.
Back at it. So you started this career path in adjustments and sales, or?
So I started off in construction in my 20s. A friend of mine was selling for a company selling roofing and siding in Chicago, doing storm damage repair. Long story short, he called me up, and he was the sales manager, and he's like, "Hey, we're looking for new guys. People are making really good money." And I didn't really believe him. He was telling me how much money he was making.
It's good money from what I've heard.
It can be, yeah.
If you're good at
it. And I kind of blew it off, and like a month later, he's like, "Dude, really, you should come down
seriously.
here."
The money's just coming.
Yeah.
It's a lot of door knocking, storm chasing, right?
Yeah. The industry was a lot different back then. It was, the Wild West. There wasn't as many rules or regulations, and jobs moved quicker, and insurance companies weren't as savvy. Well, construction companies weren't as savvy either at that time, but so I drove down to Chicago. Can't remember what city it was. It was right next to Schaumburg. But anyway, so I started selling it. I did pretty well. I made pretty decent money over a fairly short period of time, but I didn't really like being where I was at. I I was living on sleeping on a air mattress
In Chicago.
on a friend's living room, and I was ready to upgrade, and we were all going to get a house together where I had a room, and then like two of the roommates dropped out, and then I was trying to decide whether to get my own place and stay here, and I decided to come home, and then I just kind of followed that path for another year here in Minnesota. Yeah, and then I got my independent insurance adjuster license, and then I decided that maybe I could just adjust the claims for the insurance company and not have to
do all the footwork.
Yep. So I ran that through as an adjuster for a little over a decade, and money's really good there too.
Even an adjustment.
What was that?
Even an adjustment?
Yeah. So as an independent, it's like fee based. So each house you go to, it's kind of weird because the bigger the claim.
Oh, we're good.
The bigger the claim, the more they paid you. So where you think it would be the opposite, but the theory behind it is the bigger the claim, the more work it is to like write the estimates and negotiate with the contractors and so on and so forth. But if you're doing storm work, it's you might get 30 claims. You might have to do 30 claims in a week, or sometimes more, or be expected to. You don't always get through them. But, you're making anywhere from like $300 a claim to, $1,500 a claim.
Did you say 30 a week?
Yeah.
That's fuck you money.
It can be pretty good. Yeah. Like
that's a lot of money.
It is. And, they've since figured out how to cut it down.
Okay.
Like in any industry.
Like, how do we chisel off that fat?
Yeah. So, you might make 40 grand in a month, or you might drive to Florida, get all the way there. They give you 5 claims, and then you start to do them. Then they take them back, and you have to go home
for nothing. Out of pocket,
basically. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a gamble.
It's a little bit of a gamble.
A little inconsistency.
It can be. I don't know how it's ran now, but so I stopped doing claim work in insurance adjusting anyway in 2012.
Okay.
Our superstorm Sandy was like my last one, and I'd actually already quit, but a buddy of mine begged me because he had shoulder surgery and he hadn't worked for like not 9 months, around 6 months, and he was bleeding pretty bad, and not physically bleeding, but financially bleeding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
so he tapped you in.
Yeah, he's like, you have to come out here, and I'm like, no. He's like, you do all the field work, and I'll do all the paperwork. So we figured out a system,
split it,
and then split it. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, it worked out pretty good. But I got really, it's turn and burn. Like you're constantly moving.
That sounds really stressful.
It can be stressful. It's not easy on family life. And that was a huge part of why I stopped. And mindset was, we were constantly being told like all these contractors are unscrupulous and they're trying to commit fraud. And there is a decent amount of that going on for sure. But it was so ingrained, so drilled into your head that that's what was going on. Literally every contractor I would go meet, I would already have it in my head that this guy's probably, a shyster, and it wasn't true. And I knew it wasn't true. And I think for my mental health, I needed to get away from that. It was affecting me negatively.
It was almost giving you some kind of like paranoia.
Well, I wouldn't call it paranoia, but it was I don't know if you want, it's not a stereotype, but it was a kind of a prejudice, I guess, against contractors.
Okay,
yeah. And it wasn't true, and I knew it wasn't true, but but
it still affected you.
It still affected me. So I had to take myself out of the equation. I went to work for an attorney, a law firm, setting up claims that were being disputed by homeowners and contractors.
Okay.
So we represented the insured side or the contractor side.
Okay.
And I would I would substantiate if it was damaged or not, and give them my opinion on if it should be pushed forward or held back. And they did their own thing, usually, regardless of what I said. But,
But you're there on paperwork.
Yes, yeah. And it was a big change for me, like going from being out in the field all day long to
sitting behind a desk.
a lot of it was desk work, and I'd have like maybe 2 days where half of the day I was out like looking at properties.
Okay.
And so that was tough. And actually, they wound up the partners wind up splitting up and starting their own firms, and so I was laid off, and it was kind of perfect timing because I was just about ready to give them my 2 weeks. Yeah, I was.
So
having
you
a
got
rough
a
one.
lot of gas for your money on that insurance claims license, right?
As far as what do you?
Well, I mean, just like the jobs and the switch in your career path, it put in a lot of legwork.
Oh, sure.
For like dollar to
Yeah.
dollar out to dollar in.
Oh, for sure.
It was worth it then?
It was definitely, it was, it was a good investment on time and money.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, after you went from working for that law firm to now, what bridges the gap between that and being a business owner or co-owner?
Well, so, it's funny. There was a period of time we didn't speak about. I owned my own construction company for about 2 years when I was in my 20s. And maybe my timeline, I would have to double think. I would have to actually think about exactly
It's
where
not
that
claims
lays in.
room, is it?
No, claims room is my. I still have claims room. Claims room is. I do mediation. Essentially, it's called appraisal. It's
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a form of. It's similar to mediation. It's just contesting disputed claims or property
Okay,
claims.
so it's
yeah.
like a side gig right now.
It's just something I enjoy doing and helping out.
You
And
like it?
People ask me, like, I did so many appraisals for so many years after working for the law firm that I'm constantly asked to do more and more appraisals.
Okay.
Yeah, and my main business doesn't allow for it very often anymore. So now I might do 5 or 6 a year. It's usually when a buddy's company really needs, somebody to help handle the dispute, and they don't have anybody else, or they don't trust somebody else,
Yeah.
or don't want to try to learn who to trust.
So that's the true definition of a side gig, right there.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
It's your side gig. Okay. But yeah, so when did the jump occur from like to business owner?
So the jump occurred after I had cleared up all this like wreckage from my use. Like my use held me back so much in every area of my life. Like destroyed my relationship with my ex-wife, almost destroyed my relationship with my kids, completely derailed my side gig, which is it wasn't my side gig when
Right.
when
I'm not trying to diminish it.
no, I was doing that because you're right. It is, I guess, a side gig. I just never shut her down, I guess, completely because I didn't really have a reason to. But my use shut everything down. I don't know. There's a theory. Have you ever heard of I think it's called the theory of constraint.
I'm not familiar now.
This kind of refers to when you find a constraint in your life that is affecting other areas, or the bottleneck in whatever it may be. Maybe it's in your business that you have to address all of your strength, the majority of your energy to whatever that bottleneck is or whatever that constraint is, to either fix it or find a way around it before you can do anything else. So that's what I had to do with my use. And I found that my drug use was my main constraint, and it was holding everything back in my life. And so I threw everything I had in my life to try to get, right again, essentially. And that's a huge can of worms. If, like, like, it's not just the drinking or the drugging that is the problem. Like, for me, it was that's where the problem was something else. It was really,
It's how it manifested.
yeah. In the program I'm in, there they say it is, oh gosh, now I'm gonna forget. It's a symptom of a greater malady.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So
it's a symptom, not the disease itself.
Right.
Right.
So, trying to throw all my energy into fixing it was trying to get physically healthy, mentally healthy, spiritually healthy, giving back to my community, like all those points that needed to be addressed.
Which I think you're doing good at. I think the people at home can see you are like a Greek marble statue of a human. Like, I don't see an ounce of fat on your body right now. Like, you must have an immaculate workout routine on top of your meditation.
Working out has been is one of the best things I could have done for my brain.
Really?
Yeah. Overthinking, just your muscle tissues hold a lot of neurotransmitters. So just the act of exercising is truly like an antidepressant.
Oh no, for sure is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you mentioned spirituality, so I know in the 12-step program, embracing a higher power is kind of one of the steps.
Right.
So where do you align spiritually or religiously?
It's a good question. I was brought up Christian. My family, I brought up going to church and doing the Bible thing, and I've read the Bible 2 times, and I've had 2 totally different experiences with it. The first time I read it, it seemed really brutal. I don't know. I think it was maybe mostly my mindset, really, when I was reading it. And the second time I read it, and this is over long periods of time, mind you, I had a different, I saw it completely differently. And, I don't have I don't fit into a box of
No one
religion.
does.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I do love about the Bible, or the Christian Bible, is that there's a lot more in that book between the lines than there really is for face value. And I don't know. I really gelled with the way Jesus seemed to let people answer their own. He asked a lot of questions. He didn't really. There was not a whole lot of like most of the teaching moments that stick out in my head, where it was him asking questions of other people, and letting them come to their own answer.
Leading a horse to water.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
Not telling them how they should live.
Right.
But making them realize themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm like a huge believer that the things that weigh heavy on your heart are there for a reason. They're not to be taken lightly. So when I see somebody saying or doing something I don't agree with, or has a strong opinion about something that I don't agree with, I'm glad for them. I'm not going to bash them for it, because that is obviously something that is weighing heavy on their person. And I think what makes this world go around is the diversity. If everybody thought the same way or did the same thing,
Oh God, it'd be so
it would be boring.
it'd be so boring. Yeah.
Right. But things would come to a stop too. I don't think we would progress. Like we need push and pull.
There is beauty in the conflict. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
As long as you have the open eyes like you,
Yeah.
where you're almost seeking perspective.
Right. Well, 100%. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're listening if you're not, well, if you're, I guess you wouldn't really call it listening, but if I'm having a conversation with somebody and my main intent is to combat what they say, you're not listening.
It's a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
No winners.
Yeah. It's strange. Like, I like to listen to both sides of the political spectrum.
Totally. Yeah.
And they both irritate me.
Oh, God. Oh, God, I know, right? I've never identified with the middle as much as I do right now.
Yeah.
Like, I hate the left. I hate the right. Like, can we all meet in the middle somewhere? Yeah.
Yes.
Totally.
Yeah.
But you meditate, which is more like Buddhist.
Yeah. So I've been told that I have more. My philosophy seems to be more in line with Buddhism, which I don't really know much about it, to be honest with you. But I think that we all have, things don't matter nearly as much as we make them out to matter.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, Buddhism, to me, as a practitioner of Buddhism, but I align with Christianity.
Yeah.
Is faith-wise. Buddhism is more of like a user's hand guide. It's a manual, but whereas religion is like, an end-all be-all.
Right.
So have you ever heard of Thich Nhat Hanh?
That name sounds familiar, but
okay, he's a Buddhist monk, passed away in 2024, but he specialized in teaching the Buddhist principles to the Western civilization.
Okay.
So he wrote a book called Living Buddha, Living Christ, where he exonified the importance of combining faiths and stuff. So I really want to, could I send you a book?
Sure.
Because this book really helped change my life in rehab.
No,
so.
I'd love to read it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk more about that after this.
Yeah.
Great. Do you remember the last night you used? Do you remember?
Well, I remember the last drink I had, which was the night before I went to treatment, and I remember because I like narcotics really.
You're a downer.
I was an upper.
I'm an upper guy too.
Yeah. So I was. Yeah, I've been them all, but I ended up at.
You lean towards up.
I ended up, on the meth side of things. Okay. But you start looking at in treatment. They told us the average human body can only release 100 milligrams per deciliter of dopamine, where heroin was 900 milliliters per deciliter, and meth was 1,000. Yeah.
And so once you reach those 1,000 milligram levels, it's hard to go back.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Once you've felt that flood, that release, and whether it be Adderall or methamphetamine or any amphetamine or cocaine, it doesn't matter. Once you feel that, what's the hardest part about going back to normal life for you?
For me, was being painfully aware of all the wreckage that I had.
Yeah.
I mean, it was embarrassing. Even my neighbors knew. I lived in that house forever, and they didn't know Josh as a drug addict until the last probably year that I lived there, when the cops were coming over, or I was doing crazy shit in the front yard, or just are the ambulances pulling up to bring me to the hospital. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I do know what you mean.
And it was humiliating.
It is.
Yeah. And just sitting in that, and just knowing that that I could use again and feel good.
You could get back there.
Get back to the use, you mean?
Get back to that feeling, not
the
use.
Yes. I could get back to that feeling, but also knowing that I'd already made my mind up not to doing it, and I was okay. I was okay with it. Yeah. And it's been this year has probably been more difficult for me than any other year, but I have not had. I don't get cravings to use.
Really?
I rarely got cravings to use right after I had set my mind to, accepted my situation and just set my mind into getting better.
Yeah.
Really, for me, it wasn't thinking about getting better. It was, I developed a plan how things were going to get better in my life. And then I focused on those things. Yeah. And it wasn't like, I'm not going to use today. I'm not going to use today. It was like, okay, today I'm going to get up. I'm going to read a devotional, or I'm going to pray, or I'm going to meditate, or all three of those things. And then I'm going to set my intention for my day. And then I'm going to do those things. But I knew what I knew what my plan was for the day. And that's what I focused on. So, I think like in business, like anybody that's very successful in business, they execute at a high level, and things are very are scheduled. Like you have a game plan. You have everything's laid out.
Yep.
Wake
up. I'm gonna do this. This is what I'm having for breakfast. This is what I'm drinking.
And I mean though. More so, like with the business analogy, it's more so on, like, I know I have to do marketing, I have to do outreach, I have to hire employees.
Okay. So you started thinking about it like analytically.
Yeah, and I found out that the way my brain works is, and what's best for me is that's just structure. We have a structure for business, and most of my structure for business is very parallel to my structure for my life.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know. It's just weird.
I'm the same way. It's not weird. Yeah, yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, it's I think God put these patterns in our lives, and it's actually super simple. It's not necessarily easy to execute, but not at all. But you can follow the same patterns for pretty much everything, and you'll be successful at them. So
it took a lot of internal reflection and self-realization for you to get to that point and realize what was working against you and how you can use it to work for you.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a lot of people think of things as linear all the time, but really I think of things as circular. So when you're at 12 o'clock, if you're at 11:59, if you're thinking linear, that's polar opposite of 12:01, right? So
what's the polar opposite of 12:01?
Well, 11:59. So, like, if you draw a line out, if you take the clock and just make it flat. But things are really, in my opinion, are more circular than they are linear. So, what is actually opposite, or what you think of as opposite of one thing, is actually a lot closer to it than
you might think.
Yeah. So
that's almost like quantum physics.
I don't know about that.
Like the way, like when you take a piece of paper and draw a point on both ends, and then you bridge it together and the points touch.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're almost talking about parallel universes at this.
Possible.
String theory.
Theory, spooky action at a distance.
Yeah, no, sorry to make it scientific. But so you figured out what works best for you.
Yeah.
And you turned it on its head and made it work in a really profoundly positive way.
Right, yeah. So I think any one thought is at 12 o'clock, and you can decide to go back a minute or forward a minute, so you can make it either work for you or you can make it work against you. And sometimes it's not as easy as it sounds.
It's never as easy as it sounds.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But you've been doing a really great job. Like, your kids are a part of your life again?
Oh yeah. So yeah, my daughter wouldn't even talk to me for the last year of my use. Mm-hmm. She's coming over tonight.
There you go.
I'm stoked about it.
That's huge, dude.
She's awesome. Yeah, she's 23. So she was like in the middle of her teen years, or towards the end of her teen years, when I was screwing up pretty bad. And it's like, that's one of my biggest regrets. And then same thing with my son. My son's 18.
They're so grown now. Holy shit, man! Even since like last time I saw you, man, they're adults.
He's taller than me. I think he's
that's
6'2"
crazy.
now. Yeah, he's like, I spend more time with him than anybody else other than my wife.
He was the skateboarding one, right?
Yeah, he skates, and he's really into drifting cars. He's got a couple
now he's
cars.
drifting.
Yeah.
Skateboarding's the gateway drug to
drifting. But, I used to skate with him all the time. I loved skating with him. That was like our bonding thing. Mm-hmm. And then over the last few years, my back has just gotten so bad where I rarely skate anymore. And I think I only skated 2 or 3 times last year. But we found cars together. I've always been a car dude.
You don't need a good back for a good car.
No, it is hard. It's hard to sit for a long time though. But
that's so true. Oh my God, your problems with backs change over years.
Yeah. But yeah, that was, that's the big thing that we bond on is car stuff.
Yeah, so they're involved in your life now, and you're remarried, right?
Yes.
As of October in 2023. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
I haven't been able to have a chance to tell you that.
No, I appreciate
that. To a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
And how'd you guys meet?
Oh, man, we met on Hinge.
All right. Shout out to Hinge, not a sponsor.
They should have sponsored me because I was all over that thing. We met on Hinge. We were messaging, and then it's weird because she normally if I met somebody on a app, they lived like 2 hours away or an hour, it's just just irritating. Yeah. She lived like less than 2 miles from my house.
You're like,
and I'm like, that's never gonna work, but I was gonna give it a shot, So we were just messaging. I think I had been talking to her for like a week, and then I went to the gym. And I saw this girl on the treadmill, and I was walking to the weights. And then as I walked by, I kind of side-eyed.
No, it was her?
And it was her.
No way.
Yeah. So then I walked a couple more steps, and I'm like, all right, turn around. So I just turned around. And I'm like, hey, we've been talking on Hinge. And,
hey, are you the Hinge girl?
Yeah.
I've been talking. No way. What are the odds?
It was pretty cool.
So you met on dating apps and in
real life. Yeah.
That's the perfect combo,
I know,
right?
It's fun. And here's the funny thing. So she had her name as Allison on Hinge. For some reason, she didn't want to use her real name. But
for sure, I get it.
So I called first 2 dates. I called her Allison, and then finally she's like, "Mom, that's not really my name."
What was it, like Erin or something? Or her name is slipping my mind.
Oh, it's slipping mine too. No,
it's fine.
Mindy.
Did you ask her why she used the alter ego?
Yeah, she just. I don't know. She said, I'm not really sure why I did it, but I thought maybe people wouldn't. She didn't want her name on there, or people.
Yeah.
But I'm like, dude, it's like Superman or Clark Kent taking his glasses off. They're gonna know who you are. Like,
I noticed you in the gym.
Yeah.
And you guys have been happily married since. Coming up on 2 years in October.
Yeah, it's been like I've never had a relationship like I've had with.
Really?
Yeah, it's strange. She has 3 kids. I have 2. Everybody gets along well.
Wow.
She lives super close. She's in construction. She graduated with a degree in construction management.
Also, even your professional lives kind
of match. She works with us in the office for half of the day, and she has her own contracts that she does commercial project management through her own business. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
man.
it's weird. Like we spend a lot of time together, like a lot of time.
That's not a bad thing.
No, it's great. Like we don't fight very often, although we do.
We should fight a little.
Yeah, there's just the healthy stuff. It took us a while to figure out our communication styles because she comes from like a German family, so like very kind of stoic,
straightforward, stoic,
very stoic. Yeah. And I'm the emotional one, so. Like I'm the talker too. So she would be like, "Dude, I'm thinking you're oversharing, Josh."
Do you think that you would have been in a place to meet her if you had not gotten sober?
Oh no, yeah, no, it would never have worked out. Yeah, like even we talk about that. Timing is a huge part of people coming together.
It's huge. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and even her, she was a wild child. Like
was she?
Oh yeah, she
had a wild time.
She was she did whatever she wanted. And I was kind of the same way, but I was a little more sneaky about it. But not her. She was she was very like if she'd she's gonna do something like.
And you're gonna know about it.
Yeah.
And I don't give a fuck, like kind of attitude.
And that's not how she is at all now. She's
Yeah.
very considerate and very thoughtful. And, it's just, people change like you
People
say.
change,
Yeah.
man. People change.
Yeah.
Every 7 years, literally, we physically change. All the molecules in our body replace themselves.
Yeah,
and
all our cells. Yeah.
you're literally
yeah.
a different person almost from when I
Yeah.
met you,
Yeah.
which is amazing. Well, I'm so
Yeah.
glad that you found that.
Yeah,
And
thanks.
you got this great relationship with your kids.
Yeah.
Got a great partnership.
Yeah.
You're doing well with your business.
It's weird, man. It's a little
Is
scary
it?
sometimes.
It's a little scary. Are you what's the scariest part?
Well, this year, I just started, recognizing new fears. I spent such a long period of time trying not to react on different forms of fear in my life. And then when you start progressing or things are changing or you're doing better, I have fears about something I never had to worry about before. So it's, different kind, even though it's weird. Like I can make 10 times as much money as I used to, but now at times I'm more fearful about what's in the future for business or what's in the, how much money we're spending, those little things. And I've traditionally lived like below my means. And so I can, like, if shit hits the fan, I'll be okay. It's just, I know I'll be fine. Cause I
know how to live poor.
Yeah. I know how to live poor, and I don't necessarily, I don't want to be poor, but
I don't think anyone does. Yeah.
But I don't necessarily need to have a ton of shit either. So, you know what I mean?
You're content with what you have.
Yeah. I think my main motivation for growing my business was, I was scared that I wasn't going to live very long. Just what I put my body through. Yeah. And, knowing that I lost a lot of time with my kids, it was important to me to be able to leave them something. And my health is great now. So that
I can tell.
So, that fear is slowly, sliding away. So, and I'm grateful for that. I've lost my train of thought on where I was going with that. But,
it kind of touches on don't mistake comfort for boredom.
Oh, sure.
You might be getting comfortable. Don't let your brain trick you into thinking you're bored.
Right.
And because when you're bored, then all of a sudden you start coming up with these irrational fears about the future, or you can go in the past,
right?
Which, as you know, depression is living in the past and anxiety is living in the future. Yeah. So it's once you get comfortable, you have to find things that still distract you.
Right. Yeah. Yep. That's the hard things you choose, right?
It's the hard things, yeah. Let me just see where we're at right now, because I'm enjoying it. Yeah. Oh, wow, man. Holy crap. I could talk to you for a whole nother hour.
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap. We're already coming to the end of our time, and I wanted to talk to you about so much more. I guess here, let me just ask you just a couple questions.
Sure.
What is the most ridiculous fact you know?
Oh, man. Ridiculous fact. I don't know if there are any.
Out of pocket. What's the most random fact you know? Your fun fact. What's your favorite fun fact?
Dude, you're putting me on the spot here.
No, nothing? Okay.
I'll have to figure something out. But...
Why do you think humans create art?
I think art is an expression of our beauty from the inside.
Or pain.
Or pain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. In beauty, I think beauty and pain can be the same thing.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Especially when it expressed in art. Some amazing art pieces are created from emotional trauma.
Oh my God.
I mean, you know what I mean? And not that I want anybody to have to go through that to create that, but that'd be an awful thing. But yeah, making something good out of the bad, So
on that point, has there been a piece of art or a book or a movie or song that has profoundly impacted your life?
Well, I don't want to get all businessy, but the meth is a great business book that's impacted my my business quite a bit. The Bible has impacted every area of my life, which has been, I know a lot of people say that, but it truly has. Regardless if it was when I was thinking of it as a brutal book or a beautiful book, in whatever phase of my life, it's been hugely impacting, and I'm on the good side of it now. So
I don't think there's a bad side of it.
Yeah.
I think that's a trick by the devil.
Yeah, well, I would probably agree with that.
God's on all of our sides.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, I don't do karaoke because that's part of my life I am not going to balance out.
Okay. What was your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, I've never done karaoke. I think
Never?
maybe one time I've done karaoke. Yeah.
Really?
I have my voice is not great.
You got a good radio voice, though.
You think so?
I do. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, karaoke is not something I've partaked much in. But,
Okay. All right.
But
Fair enough.
yeah. But otherwise, book wise, I do like Orwell.
Really?
Yeah, 1984 was one of my
1984.
was like one of my favorite books that I read that in college, and maybe that's what started with my like sci-fi stuff or my conspiracy. I love a good conspiracy.
You do,
yeah, and just like looking at like Orwell, like he wrote that book in 48, and it was called 84, and whatever. That's not that big of a weird thing, but a lot of the shit that's in that book is very forward telling at the time.
There's a lot of parallels that people are comparing to modern day life with late stage capitalism,
Oh,
and I'm
sure.
not going to necessarily disagree.
Right.
So
Yeah, I read the Bible Code too, which was really that was kind of a crazy little book. I don't know if you ever read
Bible
that one.
Code, no.
But it's basically how the Bible. Somebody took the Bible and basically fed it into a computer and
Give it to ChatGPT.
I don't know how. I read this like 30 years ago, mind you.
Okay.
So supposedly. You can find answers to questions within the Bible the way the words are when you grid the words out a certain way. And that actually got me. I think I read that. I read 84, and then I read the Bible Code. I'm trying to remember the progression into my conspiratorial.
But then you started seeing parallels between the two? Is that what
No, just
insinuating?
I'm not insinuating that at all.
Okay.
It's just it started me thinking that not everything. I think what it really did is things aren't always what they seem to be.
Amen.
Yeah.
I had an evangelical pastor who was on Fox News every other week on the podcast, and he vouched for the simulation theory.
Oh, did he really?
Where Doug Padgett, he literally said, "How are we to know the difference between our experience and a simulated experience?"
Right.
So, and he's pretty renowned in the community.
Yeah.
Has multiple churches, is on the news all the time. So, you never know.
I might check. Who's that?
Doug Padgett. I'll send you the episode.
Yeah, send it to me.
He's a good one. He's a good guy. If you could have dinner with one person, living or dead, famous, friend, doesn't matter, who would it be?
Oh, honestly, with my grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah. We called her Busha.
Busha.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah. She died, 15 years ago, maybe. No, it's more than that. But yeah, I was just thinking about her the other day, and my dad's mom. She was an awesome woman. She had
a big impact on your life.
She did. She was just the most giving person, but she was also, she smoked like a chimney. She slapped guys' asses. you know, like,
I love Busha already. I want to buy her a drink.
Yeah. Like, you know, not like in a predatory way, but just like she's a funny lady, right? It would drive my dad mad, you know, but yeah, I lived in the Chicago area until I was like 7 years old, and she lived in East Chicago, Indiana, and we moved up here when I was like 7, maybe 8 years old. And it was like my whole extended family, even on my mom's side, my grandma and grandpa on my mom's side, I really like, and her aunts and my cousins, we were separated from them since I was young. And that's one part of my childhood that I look back and I thought, oh man, it would have been nice to have continued those relationships like on a daily basis. I feel blessed that we were all really tight anyway, but there's just like those little things. But yeah, my grandma had a lot of impact on me, and she was the first relative or close relative that I had that passed away, and I miss her. Yeah.
If you could ask Busha one question, what would it be?
I was wondering, I don't know if I can say what I'm thinking, but yeah, I would just hope that she's loving life up there. Yeah.
You're having a good time, Busha.
Having a good time. Yeah. Smacking booties.
Smacking Jesus' ass. Smoking your cigarettes.
Yeah.
Well, great. Thank you so much, Josh. It's been more than a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just have one final question before we wrap this up.
Sure.
Would you kick a puppy as hard as you could, full well knowing you're probably going to kill that puppy, to save 100 people's lives, 100 strangers' lives? And if you need an example, I have a puppy in the other room, and I can hold it right in front of your face while you answer this question.
If I had to kick a puppy to save 100,
would you kick a puppy to save 100 strangers' lives?
Would I? Is there any other way to save those?
Would you kick the puppy as hard as you could?
I would. Yeah.
You would?
Yeah.
Even if you didn't know other people? If you don't do anything,
we have to reset more parameters.
Yeah, okay, we can go there. Yeah, I love parameters. If you don't do anything, those people are going to die regardless.
Yeah.
You're not killing them. Your actions won't cause their death. It's your inaction that would. Your action would be to cause the death of another innocent life. Would you cause the death of an innocent life to save 100 others? And for all you know, it could be 100 Hitlers.
Yeah, that's a tough one to answer.
Yeah, it is. I love ethics.
Yeah.
That's why I end on this note.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I would probably need more information.
Okay, actually, hold on real quick.
Yes. Hey, buddy.
Hi.
All right.
Oh, look at that one.
Would you kick this puppy? Would you kick this puppy right here as hard as you could
I don't know if I could.
to save 100 people's lives?
I doubt it, but it would be hard. It would be hard to do that. And why are you fucking with me?
This puppy.
I do think sometimes we have to make fucking decisions that are not only devastating to others but ourselves for the greater good. And I don't know if that answers your question or not.
No, I need a yes or no.
Yeah.
Would you kick this puppy to save 100 people's
Well,
lives?
I'm not going to kick that puppy. How about that?
So that's a no. Sorry, you're the first guest I put on the spot. Josh, thank you so much.
It's okay.
Could I get a picture of you to throw you on the wall of legends before we go here? All right. You want to hold the puppy?
Hold the puppy.
All right.